If your dream is to have a relationship that is romantic, but instead you're getting a relationship full of resentment, welcome, my friend. You are in good company. So many of my students come to me telling me that they feel like their husband is another child. If that's something that you've experienced, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Avital. I'm the founder of HiFam and of my brand new course, Married You, which is all about taking your relationship from resentment to romance, especially as parents who are raising children together. I know that this is no small ask. It's a big deal, but as the mother of 5 and someone who's been married for almost 2 decades, I can tell you 100% with certainty that this is possible. I have coached thousands of couples on this, and I want this for you as well. But first, we have to lay the groundwork. And what do I mean by that? Well, there are some foundational beliefs that many women are walking around with, especially in Western culture, about their husbands, their masculine partner. And those beliefs are leading to behaviors and ways of interacting that are actually hurting and harming their relationship rather than improving it. And today I'm going to expose 2 such mindsets that could be destroying your marriage from within, and you never even knew it. The first one is the one I've already alluded to, which is the mindset that my husband is like another child. I mean, how many times have you heard a woman say something like, I have 2 kids, well, really 3, my husband is like my 3rd child. Or talking about their husband as though he's a child, talking about him as though he still needs hand-holding and mothering and nurturing and a lot of instruction and help because he's too clumsy or too clueless or too immature to manage and cope on his own. How many of us have been in that situation where we've coddled or we've rescued or we've in some ways demeaned his adulthood, his manlyhood, by treating him or talking to or about him as though he is incompetent, as though he's immature, as though he's so young that he just doesn't understand how to do basic things. This is something that we see over and over again in pop culture as well. Think about the Homer Simpsons or the Father Bear in the Bernstein Bear books. These are the types of characters that portray fathers as clumsy and clueless, as immature, as incapable, as unwise, as unskilled, and as kind of out of the loop, right? They're clueless. They don't know what's flying. They don't know what's going on. The mother is always the wise one who needs to rein them in and educate them and teach them and sometimes punish and reward them and try and kind of shape them into these functioning adults. Now, stereotypes sometimes become stereotypes for a reason. Sometimes they're based on some truth. Sometimes they're not. But in many cases, and this is certainly one of them, is that they're very damaging. Well, they can be. It's incredibly damaging to your relationship to look at your husband as though he's a child. The truth is that this becomes a type of self-fulfilling and self-perpetuating prophecy, because when people are treated like children, when they're enabled to not take responsibility, to not step up to the plate, to not actually be proactive and capable and mature in their own lives, then sometimes that encourages more of that behavior. Sometimes when you look at someone as though they're immature, you make them so with your behavior. Or even if it's not you making them that way, you are going to find more and more evidence for the fact that they're immature. You've decided, right? You've pegged them. You've stereotyped them as immature, as clueless, as helpless. And then through your behavior and through your thoughts, you're going to collect evidence and reinforce that belief about them. Now, that's a huge problem for you. And here's why. I don't know any women who want to be married to a child. I don't know any women who find children attractive. Right? You want a desire-based, attraction-based, passionate marriage. You want a marriage where you can look at your guy and be attracted to him and inspired by him and excited by him and proud to be by his side. You want a partner who you can look up to, who you can admire, who can complete the things that you can't do. Not someone who's tagging along, not yet another dependent on you. And so treating your husband like a child certainly makes him into one, right? It infantilizes him. It patronizes him. It belittles him. It castrates him in many ways, right? It makes him kind of impotent and useless and clueless. But it also makes you far less likely to desire this man, to stay attracted to this man, to feel happy in your marriage. And this is where resentment is going to build. When you keep feeling like, oh, I'm stuck with, another kid on my hands, a kid in a grown man's body. That's not a good feeling for most women, and I bet it's not a good feeling for you. But what you might not have realized is that you might be contributing to this. In fact, you probably are. You're probably perpetuating it. You're probably continuing the cycle. You're probably agitating it just through your words and actions and even your thoughts. So the first thing I want you to do to lay the groundwork here for loving, desiring, being attracted to, and passionate about your partner is stop treating him like a child. Stop mothering him, okay? You can nurture him as a wife, as a partner, as a lover, all of those things, but don't nurture him like a mother would. Don't be on top of him to eat his vegetables. Don't be waking him up so he's not late for his meeting. Don't be managing and micromanaging. Don't be nitpicking and criticizing. Don't be all over him or worried about him as though he can't handle himself. He's a grown-ass man. Start treating him like one, and he will step up to the plate and be so much more attractive to you. Plus, it will be a weight off your shoulders because it's one less person you need to take care of. So do we take care of each other in a marriage, as in, making each other a coffee or spoiling each other with a gift or, hey, babe, I think you need a really early night. Let's get to bed early tonight. Of course we do. I really appreciate it when my husband reminds me that I didn't work out today or that I should make sure to get a good night's sleep. A little bit of mothering is okay. But a lot of mothering starts to feel heavy, starts to feel burdensome, and starts to feel unattractive to most of us. The second way that we sabotage and destroy our marriages, the second mindset, the second way you might be looking at your partner is like an employee. I know it feels really awkward to say it and it feels like it shouldn't be true, but I see this time and time again. So just bear with me and ask yourself the honest question, hey, is this me? Even just a little bit. Many of us get into two states of mind, and especially I'm talking about women and these feminine archetypes. There are many different feminine archetypes, right? There's the mistress and the girl next door and the bohemian and the wild free spirit, all these cool archetypes, the lady, all of these are great archetypes. But there are a couple of archetypes that we get into, most of us fall into automatically once we're married with kids, and they are actually destructive to our marriage. But they're the most natural ones for us to do. So the first, I already told you, is the mother. The second archetype is when you treat him like an employee. That's when you get into boss babe. Listen, feminism has brought us many different things, some of them good, some of them bad. It's complicated. But one of the things it's brought us is this archetype of the girl boss, that you need to be assertive, right? And disagreeable and powerful and a leader. And you need to be decisive and you need to voice your opinions and be opinionated. And you need to be a driver, right? This is that leadership boss babe mentality. Now, that might serve you great in your workplace, okay? That might work very well at the office. I'm not actually sure that it does. It certainly doesn't for me, but maybe for some people it does. And I have nothing against it as an archetype, just like I have nothing against mothering as an archetype. I mean, it's 100% appropriate and desirable to mother your children, right? You want to be in that role with your children. But neither of these archetypes have a place in our marriages. When you get into the boss babe mentality, what actually is going to come out is many of the things that we stereotypically think about when we think about a boss. And those things are not usually attractive within a romantic relationship. Things like being assertive, demanding, barking orders, being very decisive, being a leader. Things that actually often just come across as bossy. And I know people hate it when we call women who are leaders bossy, but if you're being bossy, that isn't an attractive quality to most of our partners, I'm going to guess, right? That's not typically what we're drawn to. I mean, I really don't like it when my partner is bossy to me. And I really don't like myself when I am bossy to him. I can still have absolute agency, autonomy, independence, empowerment, all of those good things without being bossy. What does being bossy mean? Well, it means barking orders. It means making demands. It means talking in a sharp tone of voice. Here's your list. Here's your to-dos, and I expected this done. It's giving the feedback, it's giving the criticism, it's having this kind of cold, hard drill sergeant quality to you, which is the opposite of the soft, warm, fuzzy, and also mysterious and alluring aspects that we want in romance, right? Romance is about connection. It's about the warmth that we experience together. And bossiness, or being a boss or a girl boss, is about distance, right? It's actually about hierarchy. It's about authority. It's about power, right? Those aren't things that are conducive to a romantic relationship. Listen, this can be a bit confronting, I know, and it can be a little bit hard to piece apart and to delicately untangle the web of ideas and ideologies that have shaped us, right? Like, maybe I really, really believe in feminism. I'm a feminist, and I don't like Avital standing here telling me not to be bossy because that's just her, slapping on a label, when I'm in fact just being empowered and decisive and being a strong woman. Listen, I'm all for you being an empowered, strong woman. I am an empowered, strong woman. I think that's great. I don't think it has anything to do with girl boss energy. I don't think it has anything to do with that kind of get her done, very masculine, one might add, energy in a romantic relationship, right? As I said, that's good for other places, but not for home. It might be good for the boardroom, but not for the bedroom. It doesn't benefit us in our marriages. And it's going to bring out a side of your husband that you are going to really dislike. I'm guessing, okay? Here's me just like placing a bet that when you are mothering him, you bring out the child in him, which is really not fun for you and builds resentment. And when you are girl bossing him, you bring out the disgruntled employee in him, okay? The employee that's a little bit rebellious, that feels underpaid, that feels like they're not appreciated, that feels like they deserve a raise, right? This is when you see your partner grumbling over things, feeling unappreciated, getting uber defensive, right? This is gonna trigger defensiveness when they feel controlled. And it might even trigger rebellion. Like, I'm not doing that. Just because you asked me, I'm going to take the longest time possible doing it. Or I'm just not going to get it done, right? Because I want to establish a sense of independence, of autonomy, of freedom. And you are actually kind of, choking my style, right? You're not giving me the space that I need. So my big invitation to you today is to examine yourself, to ask yourself, am I being too mothering? Am I being too bossy? And you might say to yourself, okay, but what's left? If I'm not being in mothering energy, if I'm not being in girl boss energy, who am I anymore? I don't know what to be. I don't know how to adopt a different energy, how to really turn my relationship from resentment to romance. I want you to watch my next video coming down the pipeline because we're going to dive into that in a really deep way. And also, of course, this is something that I outline in my in-depth, life-changing course, my signature marriage course that is coming out right now, which is Married You, as in Married University, as in the education that none of us ever got. Take it from me after 2 decades of marriage almost and 5 children together, going through massive losses, going through pandemics and wars and moving countries and a lot of different things that we've been through together. This is what I wish I had learned 20 years ago, and instead I had to learn it painstakingly, step by step. But I want you to leapfrog over all of that and get the education that we all need in order to lead a meaningful marriage, a passionate marriage, a marriage that is full of desire and fun and friendship and closeness and trust and all the good things that you want in a marriage. So make sure to leave me your key takeaway below in the comments. Give this video a like and a subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Keep on living that high fam life.